Hi guys, welcome to this session in Microsoft Word. In this module, I want to show you how you can get some cool features in a Word table. So first of all, I'm going to insert a table. Now when you click on this little down arrow, you've got a few different options. You can select from the top, select the grid. You can do it through this button, insert table. You can even draw a table. You can bring a spreadsheet in, or you can select a table from preset formatted lists like so. But I'm going to do this top option. I'm just going to drag a few blocks down like that. Then I'm just going to type name, pressing my tab key to move across, department, tab, salary, tab, telephone. Now when you press your tab key and keep going, you will keep tabbing across like so, all the way to the end. But when you get to the end, if you press tab again, you just create an extra row so that the rows will just increase like that. If I highlight the top row, this little mini toolbar comes up with a few features on it that allows you to format the color of this. Key commands work in the same way as any key commands in Word. With that highlighted, I can do Control E. It will do center like so. Now, if I type some people, so I'll just type Steve. I want to come down, Steve, Bill, and Ben. Now, if you want to number a list, if I just give them a department, so we'll go sales and then HR, for example, and salary can be 34,000. Now let's say they're all in 34,000. You can highlight that and drag it down and use your control key to copy that down like so. So that's quite a cool little feature. That's a Windows feature. 111, 222, 333. So first of all, I want to highlight just this block and go to home and put a numbered list on 1, 2, 3 like so. So I've just done the first column, but watch what I can do here. If I grab Ben by highlighting that row, I can just drag that up and it will drop Ben at the top and the numbers automatically reset. So this little toolbar does get in the way a little bit. Highlight, move away, come back, move it to the top and it will automatically renumber. You can also, with a table, if you click into any of these cells on the ruler, you get the markers for each column. If I hold my Alt key down and click on my mouse, it gives you the measurements and you can sort of like adjust the measurements like that. The same thing will happen if you wanted to adjust the row height. Alt key down and then you've got measurements on the ruler in the left margin. Now, if you want to do calculations in a table, you basically need to get under the column where you want to do the calculations and go up to table layout, and on table layout you've got formulas and it defaults to sum above, and you can change the number format if you so wish to that. You've also got the option to bring in functions. Now, not as many functions as what you get in Excel, but there are a few. I was just going to click OK to that, and then it will add that up. Now, it's not dynamic in the same way as Excel is, because if I change that to say 54,000, this hasn't updated. So basically what you have to do is select it and press the F9 function key, and then it will update. That's all you have to do to update fields in Word. Now, if you want to change the borders, you can do all of that sort of thing. If I highlight the table, this little mini toolbar gives you borders to activate them. But if you go into, so I've got no borders there, which is already on, but if you go into borders and shading at the bottom, you've got the option to change the actual style of the line. I'll just make it a bit bigger like that. So that's what's going to come on. You can change the color of that. So I'll change that to red, just so it stands out a bit more. And then clicking OK to that, and then I've totally messed it up. But that's how you can do that, and you get a sort of 3D-ish look to that border. Now this table caption at the top is on there because I've activated automatic captions. So if I go to references and insert caption, this feature here, automatic caption, if you click on that, word tables has been ticked. So every time I create a table, so if I create a new table underneath this one, it will give it a number like so, which then means if you come down, so say this is a big document, you can then go to the reference tab, for example, and insert table of figures, and it's picking up table, which is what we're using, but obviously you've got other options. I'm going to click OK to that. And then you have these options down the bottom there with a hyperlink to each of these tables. I'm holding my control key down and it's jumped up to table 1 at the top there, table 2 there. So normally that would be on the last page. Now if you want to put tabs in a table, when you press tab, as I said at the top, you just jump from one box to another. So I'm now in the second box. I press it again, I'm now in the third box. But if I want to have a tab in the middle, if I go and put a tab marker on the ruler, say at 2, to jump to that tab, I need to hold my control key down and then tab, and then you can type like so. Tabbing again will jump into the next box. If there's a tab in the middle, which there is now, it would be control tab to get to it, and then you would be able to type again like so. So when you create a word table, there's quite a few functions and features that are available once you get a table on the screen. You can draw a table like I mentioned before. If I do that, just lastly to finish, insert table and draw table, you just get a pencil, you draw the outside parameters. It's remembering the borders from before. It's coming up with table 3. You just do that, you draw it down, and if you want a row, you just go across like that, and it snaps into position. If you go back into insert table, you can go down into insert table there, or you can come into this little grid and create a table within a table like so. So you've got the options to create quite a lot of different tables. If you don't want the captions on, you need to go back into reference, into captions, and take the tick off word in there. But that's all I want to talk about in this little video, how you can add some cool features in a word table to get the best out of the feature. So hopefully this little video is of use. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.